Welcome back to the little corner of Thorny Thoughts by Rose, where we sit and just think and let our mind wander in the bushes and in the meandering fields, because thinking should be kind of like clouds, free to roam slowly or quickly depending on the situation. I have been not sure what I'm doing, but I'm doing something right, because this is the second night in a row that I have slept through. Now, mind you, I might not be doing anything right. It just might be all the right stars aligning, but second night I woke up without interruption, which I'm thrilled about. It is early in the morning, still dark. I have put wood in the stove, and I'm watching the flames lick the whole stove with flames. It's really quite therapeutic. And that gets me thinking that, there's a lot of therapeutic things that don't ever get used. Maybe that's not the proper English sentence. Let me see if I can say that again. I'm not going to say it again. I'm not going to waste my time. I think you guys understand that. I'm working through a lot of things all at once, which is difficult and kind of hilarious at the same time, because it's kind of like a child learning how to run while still learning how to walk. That's kind of how it feels. I'm very clumsy lately. My thoughts are everywhere, and I'm thinking so much that I'm having a hard time really focusing on any one thought to give it any real airtime, as it were. But yeah, we have been working a lot. The weather has been absolutely phenomenal. I mean, we are going from pluses, where it's really warm, at least it was several weeks ago, to sways of like minus 28, and that was in November. Now we're in the middle of December, and it snows every day here, except the accumulation is not, not equal to what I would think should be, given the amount of snow that has fallen. I guess in the south, when snow fell, there was generally accumulations, and it was generally impressive. But again, snow is not as dominant as it is here. Here, it snows almost every day without any breaks. But it doesn't snow heavily necessarily. It kind of snows like it's kind of half constipated, or maybe just waking up, or had just fallen asleep and just only a few flakes were released. So it's quite funny how it snows sometimes, but it's constantly snowing. And I said to my husband, or it wasn't my husband, actually I think it was someone that asked me from down south, how much snow do you guys have? And I said, not as much as I think we should have, given that we've been snowing every single day, with maybe an exception of 2 days in the last 2 weeks, which is quite remarkable for me, because I would have imagined that we'd have snow up to the tip of our doors by now. But it's quite interesting how it falls. Anyway, that was totally a detour. And I guess that's part of it, is that I'm taking more detours. And I think I'm taking so many detours because I've made it a priority. And this morning I was thinking about priorities, actually. I was actually thinking that people in this society now have been trained, because it is a matter of training, and I don't take it personally anymore. But when people say, oh, I was so busy, I couldn't call you back, or I was so busy, I want to make time for you, but I just couldn't. I was just so busy. But then when you inquire further, they can't really remember. They just know that they were busy. But as I started this journey several months ago, I realized that I am prioritizing 180 degrees in a completely different direction. I'm still myself, of course, but moving here has forced me to stand my life upside down, really. And by doing that, I've realized that my priorities were all messed up. And it wasn't because I was a bad person or I was a terrible prioritizer, although I'm not that good at it, to be perfectly honest. I mean, we all have to be honest with ourselves. But I never realized how I was being pushed to prioritize in an ineffective way for myself and more effective for the system that I was in. Because in order to be successful in the system, you have to prioritize very differently than if you want to be successful for your self-being. I know that that's not correct in English, but for your own self, for your own self-preservation, your priorities should be very different than when you are prioritizing for success in the system. Because success in the system looks kind of like the witch I talked about in the last video, part 1. This is part 2. I know it doesn't sound like it, but it is part 2 of the witch. And the witch in Hollywood prioritized very differently than, say, an Amish person here in the south, in the north, sorry. And my brain is still a little bit in the south. I do miss lots of aspects from the south. But I don't see myself going for those particular aspects. Because they were different priorities. They had a different level of importance when I was down south. When I'm up north, I don't need to chase those things because the competition is very different in the north. And when you have to change your entire life, there's something that happens in your brain. And I can't explain exactly the functions of what happens, but I can explain to you what it feels like. And what it feels like is your whole brain is being shaken up. And while it is uncomfortable sometimes, because sometimes you don't know if you're depressed or anxious, or if you're happy and giddy, and you're not sure why you're giddy about this or why you're anxious about that, because these are new things that you're anxious about. that maybe you didn't have to worry about before. And I think that, for me anyway, I'm not sure how it is for anyone else in my family, I think this will, in the long run, be a very good thing for my brain, because I feel my brain is firing on all cylinders because it doesn't know which cylinder it's supposed to use. So it's just like, okay, we might as well just start all of them, because like half the time she needs cylinders we haven't warmed up, and then like she falls. Like, so let's get all of them going and let's get them primed. This is like my brain. And then we'll support her better. So then when she needs one of us, we're already ready. Like, I feel that's what's happening. And I feel as a result, my brain is being able to catch more thoughts and think on them longer. I know you wouldn't be able to tell based on my videos, because, again, my videos are not a priority. They're not gonna save me in a pinch if I make sure I maintain them. But if I maintain all the relationships, I think that I have a better chance of having a better outcome if I have an emergency. So priorities have shifted only because life has opened new avenues of points of view. And when we are stuck in one point of view, which we are mostly, as a general rule, generally people don't move out of their said pasture. Let's just call us sheeple, like they refer to us. And they know that the sheeple don't really like to move from the pasture, unless, of course, a couple of reasons occur. So if the pasture becomes very hard to fill your stomach with, you start looking around and you start seeing if there's any better options. And if you start seeing better options, because now you've been forced to look around, because obviously you're hungry, that's the only reason why you've lifted your head and looked around, to see if there's anything else that you can maybe, get more grass, like go and find some more food. And so you move and start searching because there's a functional reason. Or there's another reason. Like, for example, there are a lot of nasty sheep, and there's a lot of infighting, and a lot of sheep are dying from injuries because there's sheep that are attacking other sheep. So then you start again, instead of, minding your own business and just sticking, with your own, your own little corner, you again look up and go, okay, is there somewhere safer? I can, maybe another part of the field I can move to, or maybe entirely into a new field. Again, the call to action generally is more or less a last minute resort. You're uncomfortable or you're hungry is generally the general rule. And that's generally in our life. That's generally how people pay attention to their life. And I've got to mosey hurry because my battery is very low. I didn't charge yesterday, see? When you have bad planning, you have more chances of bad luck. And I laugh at that because it's very true. People that plan really well rarely have as much bad luck as people that don't. But I digress, and let's get to the point. So that was my morning, just general thoughts. But yesterday, I went back to the witch's show. And I wanted to watch. I wanted to give her a fair chance to show that she's not a witch, that she's not part of the system, and that she is not doing everything in her power to continue to slide the world's population society, humanity down the toilet. Alas, there wasn't as much of the show as I had initially remembered. I had thought that I had watched half of it, or listened to half of it, because truly I have a hard time watching her. She doesn't even seem, well, excuse me, my tea. Well, she doesn't really seem human. She kind of seems, my poor dog stretching. She kind of seems plastic, like she's not real. It's weird. It's just the weirdest thing. She's so fake. Her hair is so fake. Her face is so fake. It's your spidey senses almost, like the back of your hairs, like of your neck. Something is not right. But anyway, she continued on with her alleged very wide and diverse opinion podcast with an audience that had nothing to do except clap and nod in a very mechanical, creepy manner. And when you pay attention closer to the details of her quote-unquote podcast, you realize that the audience members also look very plastic and manicured. Everything is very detail-oriented. It doesn't seem natural at all. Almost ChatGPT generated, it feels like. You know, I'm pretty sure it's real. But you do have to wonder. So they go on to now these children that have decided to estrange themselves and create a no contact with their parents. Now, a couple of things. First and foremost, we are talking about, so far we've heard from an estranged or no contact mother who had an abusive, a legitimately abusive, it sounded like, son. And as you get older, that gets scary because that's a very strong man. And he physically was now abusing her. So that made sense. So we kind of started off with, okay, we can agree with that. We can side with that. If somebody is at this point physically, mentally, psychologically abusing you, and you now live on your own, pay your own bills, if you don't want to have contact with that human being, okay. But like anything else in life, things should be rooted in facts. And facts should have real value. So in the second part of me watching The Witches podcast, it was unimpressive how she didn't take care so much as to really point out that she didn't really question. She's a woman that's been questioning people for 40 years. Her questions were very soft. She was trying to be, I think her focus was more to be informal and to try to come out of her regular role. She didn't do a very good job. She stayed in her role. She still was Oprah on the stage with an audience. Nothing has changed. You know, having a podcast microphone doesn't make it a podcast. And I think that she was really more trying to be cool and acceptable as opposed to, you know, really asking good questions. And plus, good questions would actually level the stage, and that is not the point of that show. So we come finally to the final people that are going to share their stories, and everybody's just dying to get anywhere near this witch, just just to be near her, even though she doesn't have her own quote-unquote show that's on a network. But she does, because this is the new network. YouTube is the new network. So don't fool yourself. Tucker Carlson didn't get fired. He got promoted. Russell Brand didn't get shunned. He got promoted. He got promoted into the new media. But he also had to have a performance on getting there, because we wouldn't obviously believe that they're on our side. They have our back. So Oprah's trying to get back into that, because she had our back, as it were. She was the true educator. Our classroom teachers were the babysitters holding the room for the witch. Anyways, she allows the last few guests that are on her show, and they tell a story that has really no real plot, has no real climax. It's just, oh well, it's, it was just not good. We can't really explain it. That's the gist. The gist is that the parents were bad enough to shun, but not bad enough to have a real reason. And she covers it as a trend, which it is, but where does the trend come from? The trend comes from people like her. When movie stars are covered, and when they behave the way that they behave, I know that we referred to us as sheeple in the beginning of the talk, but now we're going to refer to us as monkeys, because monkey see, monkey do. Rinse, repeat. Monkey see, monkey do. Rinse, repeat. And if any people in this world think that they are somehow different, then they also must know that that takes a great deal of effort. If you are not in the rinse, repeat cycle, which most of us are, especially and primarily and mostly if you live in the city, you are not having the luxury of being able to allow your brain to get kind of lost and kind of get unhinged, because it doesn't know what to get ready for the day, because the day is so unexpected. Because we live in a routine-based life, and a routine-based life is not only efficient for your life, it's also efficient for if someone's watching you. Like, say for example, let's say for the instance, if somebody is wanting to map your actions out, stalk you, and hurt you, it's much easier when you have an everyday religious routine. Monday you get up at 7, you go to work for 9, you come back at 5, you make your dinner for 6, your family eats, and then you guys watch a movie, and then you put your children down at 8, then you sit down and do your crossword puzzles at 9, you close your lights at 9:30. If you do that often enough, everyone, including the people that own us, are thrilled, because they know what to expect. There's no surprises. But if you're doing one thing one day, another thing one day, the following week you're in a different country, there's not a lot of repeat and rinse and repeat. You're not that easy to follow. You are not going to be that easy to, put in a routine for one. And for two, you're not going to be that easy to predict. So by being very, very organized and routine-based, you are easily predictable. And by that, you are easily controlled. And that's what the cities do. That's what the system does. The system puts us in loops and cycles that can be followed, that can be tracked and traced. And that's just the beginning. Because where we're going, believe me, and don't believe me, I don't care. It's not incumbent on your belief. It's going to happen whether you believe it or not. Kind of like breathing. Whether you believe you breathe or not, unless you put yourself underwater for 5 minutes, doesn't matter if you believe it. It's happening. So, the witch did not disappoint. In fact, she helped me really see her quite clearly. She had no balance in her quote unquote podcast. And it's not because she doesn't know how to have balance. Oh, that is surely not the case. She has more than 5,000 hours worth of experience in her lifetime of questioning, getting to the bottom of people's problems. She is an excavator when it comes to information. So don't fool yourself. It's not because it was an oversight. Quite the opposite. This podcast that's just, just so nonchalant is a way to corral and collect all the people that still are not really in the system. She leaves us off with no parents' perspective or no children perspective that have been excommunicated or sent out of contact or refused contact. So where is the balance? She had 3 psychologists or psychiatrists, none of which were balanced. They were professionals, authorized, part of the system, plugged in. They're representatives. They're like the person that comes in with the samples of drugs and he talks to the doctor. He's not telling the doctor to look at the real cause, the real root of the problem. He's saying, oh, well, as soon as someone has a sniffling nose, try this pill. Or if there is a cough associated with the sniffling nose, well then, take this pill. He's not interested in looking for truths. He's looking for places where he can apply his drugs. So, the witch is still pimped out, and she's still hooking for her pimps. I was pleasantly, I guess, not surprised, but I was pleasantly surprised, I guess, that, you know what, a cheetah can't change their spots. She's definitely a cheetah. So I want you to really think about, when you're watching these people, I really want you to look at them through a lens of suspicion, not through a lens of full trust. If we continue trusting these people that are authorized, that placate us and trick us, because that's what they're doing. They are acting. They are actors. She is part of the Bilderberg. She is part of the big boys club. She's one of the very few women. And she's a woman of color. She takes her job and commitment to this cause very, very seriously. And you, my friends, are not her cause. Although I do understand that that is the story that she leads with. So I'm going to be finishing. It's 29 minutes, and I am thrilled that I am going to be under 35 minutes. I'm giving myself a window, as we can obviously see. That was my disappointing reflection of the Witches podcast. I would say there is value in checking it out, but not if you know that you will get caught up, and not if you know that you cannot be critical of the witch herself. Because though, if you cannot be critical, and if you could not have your walls up to be critical, you will get lost in her message, because she is like the snake in Jungle Book. And if you've never seen her that way, I believe that's the point. But again, you are free to think whatever you like. Because here, that's the point. The point is to challenge what you think. And when you challenge what you think, it is very hard to work through somebody else's ideas. It is way more thorny, or at least it feels that way, when you are taking somebody else's point of view and you're actually trying to truly look at it from that perspective. Very few people, I've realized, have the ability to do this. There are very few people that are actually contrarians, or like Switzerland's, where they can look at both sides of the story and say, yeah, I can see this side and I can see this side. And it's a very difficult choice, because both sides have right and both sides have wrong. And in life, that is true. So, on that note, if you have made it this far, thank you. And congratulations. You are a thorny thinker. And thorny thinkers don't go down the toilet as easily, because they have some thorns. So keep up your thorny, sharpening. Sharpen those thorns, get asking questions, and start expanding that gray matter.